Another one. Full stack QA specialist. In developer cycles, it's a common term, full stack developer. But what would it take for a QA specialist to be called a full stack QA specialist? QA who does manual testing and web automation testing and native mobile app testing, managing a team, etc. So, that is an amazing question. So, pretty much, what is a full stack QA specialist or full stack QA engineer, right? So, let's do it. The only one I wouldn't add, like, so I would agree with your list. So, I'm going to take your list of manual testing, web automation testing, native mobile testing, and managing a team, right? I'm going to remove the managing a team part to it because that, like, managing a team is not part of. So a full stack, to me, a full stack QA engineer, specialist, tester, whatever you want to call it, right? They're going to be on the individual contributor route. They are not going to be on the manager route, right? So if you're managing a team, you're a manager, not an individual contributor. You are like, you might know how to do these things, but you're just not going to be able to do it all, right? It's impossible to manage a team and do manual testing, to do automation testing, to do mobile testing, right? It's just not going to happen. So I would agree that being able to do manual testing, being able to do analysis, like write test cases, the thing, and that's the thing. I don't even like manual testing. I like traditional testing, comprehensive testing, right? So you know how to. So I'm gonna break down what I would call a full stack QA engineer, right? So full stack, right? Starting from the very beginning, right? You participate from the very beginning of the software development lifecycle. That means you're in a Scrum team, right? When you are in refinement and grooming, you are contributing to the decisions that are being made on how the story is going to be built, on how the feature is going to be built, the implementation, the user experience, the acceptance criteria, right? From the very beginning, you are helping define the product. What is it? What are we going to do to make this product successful? To me, that's probably the most important part of being the full stack QA engineer, QA specialist, QA tester, right? Being part of the very beginning where you define, you have your fingerprint on the outcome of the product, right? The engineers, they have their fingerprint on it. The product manager, they have their fingerprint on it. The scrum master, not so much because they're more managing the team, like, lifting impediments. Like they're doing, like, the scrum masters do their own thing, but they don't really have their fingerprint on the actual outcome of the product. They have their fingerprint on the success of the product, right? And that's why I love scrum masters, right? But so we have our developers who have the fingerprint, we have the product owner, but QA needs to have their fingerprint as well. You need to be the advocate for the user experience, right? Because you can have the UX UI team build out how the interaction for the customer would go, but you have the practical working knowledge of that. So you need to put that fingerprint. You need to put your voice on the customer experience part of it, right? Be the advocate for the customer, right? So that's the first part. Now, you also need to know, okay, now I need to create a test plan for this product, right? That is going to help us be successful, right? We want to limit the amount of bugs, right? So full stack, I would say, before the developers even start to implement, you get involved with them, saying, all right, this is my test plan. This is how I'm going to approach it. I want you guys to know this in advance so you guys can have an idea of what I'm going to be doing, right? So you can so that way, with that in their mind, they're going to be building based on your test plan to make sure that we reduce the amount of bugs that we're going to find. All right. So now, that's in the planning phases of testing, right? So now, once the developers are done and they say, okay, QA, I've dev tested this and it's working on my end. It now belongs to you to start testing. So now your test. So you're gonna do some manual tests, right? And it's a manual test because before you can even automate, you're going to have to do some manual testing. So you're doing your manual test, and you're making sure everything's working. Well, why are you doing that? You also have in mind, all right, what are my automation opportunities? So now you can also part of the full stack. You can also automate it, right? You can also automate it so that you have automated tests. You can run regression tests for whenever changes are made. You're able to run your tests and make sure that nothing existing breaks, right? But wait, there's more, right? So, if there's mobile, of course, be able to do the mobile as well. But very important is that you are able to run your test through the CI/CD pipeline, right? So, and if you don't have one, then part of full stack is being able to set up a CI/CD, right? You might have to set up a Jenkins, you might have to set up a Circle CI, you might have to set up a Team City. I remember at my last company when I was like brought us to do automation on a different part, separate from the existing QA team, right? And they were using Team City. So on my very first week working there, I figured out I went and I installed Team City using Docker, I believe, and I configured it, and I had a whole pipeline running through Team City for our automated tests. Right. Eventually, I ended up switching that to Jenkins because it was requested to, but I was able to do it. Right. And when I set up Jenkins, I did it through Docker. So being able to set up your CI/CD pipeline is also part of being full stack. But
Message.
also being able to set up your own infrastructure, right? That is also full stack, right? Being able to use Docker to set up MySQL, being able to use Docker to set up Selenium Grid, being able to use Docker to set up my CI/CD pipeline, to set up Jenkins, to set up Team City, to set up Circle CI, whatever the case may be, right? That is also full stack. And to add, being able to create your own automation framework, that is also full stack, right? But here's the thing. Here's the secret, right? There is no limit to being full stack, because full stack really means as technology advances, you also advance with the technology. There's no clear-cut definition of what full stack means. Full stack to me means you're always evolving. So what do we mean by always evolving? So before, I would log into AWS, set up a EC2 instance, go log SSH into the EC2 instance, set up Docker, right? Set up Docker on it, and then set up whatever software, maybe the Selenium Grid, maybe report portal, whatever the case may be, which is another thing. Full stack, being able to report, being able to provide metrics on your automation, right? Being able to triage defects, being able to properly report defects, right? But like I was saying, right? Because that's a given, right? But I would go into AWS and set it up, right? That's being full stack. But now what do? We pushed ourselves forward to using Terraform. So now, if I want to set up some infrastructure for using like AWS or Azure or Google Cloud Platform for my automation needs, right? Full stack means I'm going to do it through Terraform, do infrastructure as code, right? Full stack is evolution. That's all that it is, right? What can you do? And I can't speak for the developers, right? But I'll tell you this: I see the developers that I work with going into different databases, whether it's SQL or whether it's Mongo or whatever the case may be, right? They do that type of work. They do Terraform. They do infrastructure work, right? And I believe that as QA engineers, you need to be able to test those, and you need to be able to build them for your own QA needs as well. That is what I believe that full stack QA is, right? Is being able to be comprehensive in any QA thing that you do. All right?
If you enjoyed the fascinating information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.